We're all set.
All
Yeah,
right.
he's not gonna be on. till the
Welcome,
February.
everyone. This is the Town of Rutland, Vermont Select Board meeting for May 6th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. We have 4 out of 5 Select Board members present. Joe Denardo, Mary Ashcroft, Matt Getty, and Sharon Russell. Remind me next time to start from your end and work back. Yeah, okay. Plus numerous department heads. So please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have 2 sets of minutes in our packet for select board meetings. Start with April the 2nd. And let's see. We were all present. Motion's been made to approve.
Second.
And seconded. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0, 1 abstention. Okay, we have the minutes for the April 29th Select Board meeting. This was the special one where we did a few things, but it was primarily to meet with the region. There's Kurt.
It's in a hurry.
Yep.
So,
No.
okay, motion's been made to approve the April 29th minutes. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Second.
Motion carries 5-0. Kurt, do you want to vote? We can reopen briefly and allow you to vote on the April 22nd minutes.
Matter. Aye.
Okay, so the vote is now
Everybody else.
everybody. Thank you.
Some major complaint.
Police committee minutes aren't what we vote on. So, approval of orders. We have in front of us,
Move to approve.
motion's been made to approve the orders
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion, additions, corrections, deletions? If not, all in favor of approving the orders, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Board member announcements. Are there any? Nope. Okay. Update from Select Board Chair. Just a few things. First, the reminder that circle articles are due by May 15th. That is the last edition to go to the press before the summer. So everyone, if you have an event coming up during the summer or something that will occur in early fall before the next edition of the circle, please get your article in. Please get your articles in anyway. Let people know what's going on. Next week, Bill, would you please put on the agenda for our next meeting that we will need to approve the scholarships? The scholarship committee received a whole bunch of packets on Friday and we'll be meeting to go over. These are the Rutland Town's scholarships that voters approved. So more to come on that. The fire committee probably should have a meeting. I know we were holding off because Chief Clerk wanted to bring the bylaws to us, but just a thought that perhaps it would be better to have a meeting before the close of the fiscal year anyway. So, okay. And townwide celebration. Are we probably in the planning stages, but that would be a good one to have front and center on the circle front page, reminding people of what it is.
You're listening there?
Say that again.
Right over.
I was asking
Townwide
Kari-
celebration, we need a block or something big on the front page of the Circle to
Okay,
advertise it.
that would be Bill this year, and then I will take care of it after that.
Okay,
Bill's still in charge. One year.
you guys have worked that out. Okay,
I just told him.
all right. Okay, and that's all I had. And moving right along. Are there any questions from the floor or public comments? From anyone? Public comments from anyone?
Do you want to do
No? Okay,
the recreation thing?
we'll run through our department heads. Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right,
Somebody got a haircut.
some people did. We started a little project, last week, rebuilding the sandbox. The box that the residents get their sand out of.
Oh,
It's, the original one's pretty beat up and tattered, so we took it out and we're putting up something a little bit more rugged and hold a little bit more material. We're on a pretty much a regular routine basis now of flushing the manhole in front of Sports Cuts or Clips, or I don't even whatever the name of it is. Basically because we don't have anything coming, more or less coming across the road. So they've got a force main that goes in there and there's not really enough volume to push the solids down. So we have to go down there once a week with a tank of water and throw a couple 100 gallons down it and get it to go down someplace better. So that's pretty much a regular maintenance issue right now. We started doing some of the MS4 stuff, maintenance stuff. So we went to Winridge and the check dam, the stormwater check dam had a bunch of inch and a half white pine trees growing in it that really didn't need to be there. So we went up there and cut and chipped a bunch of trees, probably 100 of them actually. And while we were there, we started kind of looking at the stormwater infrastructure, and I didn't really have much of a clue as to what that was. So we opened up all of the basins. We're gonna have to get in there and get them all cleaned out this summer. I've got A1 scheduled for the 20th and 21st of this month, I guess, to clean basins and stuff. And then we actually went up the next day and I mapped it all out so I know kind of where everything goes and how it runs now. So spent a little bit of time up there working on some of this MS4 stuff, trying to get ahead of it before Andres and crew show up and give me a list of things that I need to do that hopefully I have done before we get to that point. A bit of bad news and a bit of good news. I got an email today from VTrans, from Brian Sanderson. Our structures grant for the culvert on Stratton Road was approved. It's got to go through their process to make it all official and everything. But they did turn down the Class 2 paving grant, which was that upper portion of East Pittsford Road.
Mhm.
So it's not the end of the world. We're still going to do East Pittsford Road because it needs it. So I had the way I had it figured, we could do that Columbus, David, Susan. I could do just about everything up there but 2 streets out of my regular paving budget. I'm gonna have to back some of that out of there. I might be able to do about half of it this year, and I'll just do the other half next year so we can do East Pittsford Road this year and get that done. So it's in the works.
How much was the structures grant for, Dave?
500,000.
They gave us a full 500.
I haven't seen it yet, but that's what we applied for, and it didn't
Okay.
say it was
what's
gonna
our
be anything
match?
different. 20%, so it'll be 120.
Okay.
We'll have to figure that in
And we've-
somewhere.
We've
Time-
budgeted for it?
Time
somewhere?
frame.
We've got till December of next year,
Okay.
26.
26.
Yeah, so I did it that way because I knew it was, by the time these things are approved, and it's always this time of year, there's no way we're gonna get it put out and done this year. So that gives us time to kind of budget for it,
Put it out to bid.
put it out.
Yes.
We gotta get 2 easements.
Yep.
and get it out to bid and all of that stuff.
The
So
next summer's.
it'll be next
construction
summer's
cycle.
project, yeah.
Okay,
It's good. Into the little bit of fun stuff. Green up. We collected the bags the other day. We got 89 of them.
Okay.
Larry has been taking bags for the last 2 weeks, I think. So I don't know what the official last number will be, but
Oh, so did your crew green up part of Creek Road? Somebody cleaned up my road.
I don't know who did that, but we got called, or no, I think somebody sent a text message or an email or something,
Huh.
2 weeks ago and said there's a bunch of bags down there. So we went down and picked
Yeah.
them up, and I think we got 6 or 7 or
Yeah,
8 bags down there.
that
that day.
was Mike and my son.
We
doing
thought
the
that was
lower
you.
part. No, I do the upper
Slacker.
part and somebody have done it, but people have started throwing it out again. So
That-
if people do, because of the rain, if they do some green up this coming weekend or so, will you still accept the
Absolutely.
green bags?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
Yep, that's not a problem. Just let us know where they are. We had, I don't know, I think I had 5 or 6 different phone calls, messages on the answering machine over the
Okay.
weekend for locations. So we just went out and picked everything up.
Good, thank you.
Katie is at our place right now, putting together a tree sale. She's kind of ahead of schedule, and she was working there pretty much all day today by herself, but she's actually going to send out some emails and get some people to maybe come in early and pick up their stuff. So, she said she had like 120 orders.
Good.
For trees. So that's a pretty successful thing.
Yeah. This is the
I never can get the name right. It's that long.
Rutland Natural Resource Conservation District.
That one.
I'll be helping on Friday and Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it'd probably be pretty much done by the time you get there, but
I'm planning on it. Yeah.
that should work out. This one is a question more than anything. The gentleman owns the building down on South Main Street or 7 that burned this past week. He also owns the Green Mountain Credit Union building.
Mhm.
Apparently, sometime in the past, his father had a problem with the well, and he put in some kind of janky system that was run from inside the garage that is a heap at this point. So he would like to get on municipal water somehow. Obviously, there isn't any. So I guess I told him his best option right now would be get a hold of Parker's or something. And they put a pump inside the building and pump into a tank and then pump from the tank out. So they got some kind of temporary tank set up for the credit union right now. And he is looking at rebuilding something on that corner. So he'd like to get municipal water. So I guess the question is there any appetite from the town to pursue any kind of water system, something down there, which obviously needs to be looked at, but
How
There's-
far is the,
There's water.
there's water at Honda.
Shira Honda.
Is there Seward Road?
That comes off of Seward Road.
Yeah, that's Seward Road.
That's-
And
yep.
then there's there a line that goes up Coal River Road?
No,
No,
Dell
no, there's a
Stanley?
Dell Stanley, comes cross lots from Chase Avenue off of Curtis into a Dell Stanley.
So we gotta get from Adele Stanley down.
Right.
but the problem with that is it's a small main.
That's a 6-inch main.
So if you were trying to do fire hydrants, you can't do them on it. They won't allow you to do them.
But if we pushed it from, because that's a 12-inch main on Seward Road.
Right.
And if, I don't know what that is in front of
Sure,
Shearer, if
that's
that's,
an 8.
that's 8. Oh, yeah, because
When
of
they
height
built
up there.
that was, so we asked for that when they were going to run water there, they came to the town and I asked them when they built that to put a hydrant out front. In order to put a hydrant out front, they had to run an main. I don't know if the
Right.
town contributed to that. We might have contributed some to the upgrade because there was no water. So there's no water on the east side of Route 7 down there. This is
Right.
the issue.
For what stretch?
Huh? From Coal
From-
River Road to Seward Road, well, to Shira Honda.
To
there's
Shira
no
Honda.
water on that east side in the town. So
So if we're gonna consider doing anything, shouldn't it be for the whole stretch that doesn't have water?
right, you would, the ideal thing would be to hook on at Shira Honda on the 8-inch main and go north. But the city doesn't like the dead end mains, so ideally you would end up tying that into either the main that goes to Webb's
Well,
Cause
the
I
ma-
think
so
that dead
the-
ends.
The main that goes to Webb's, I was wrong when I was talking to you about that the other day. That comes in on their far southeast corner.
Yep.
By the railroad tracks. So it's like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing to get there.
So if you wanted to loop it, we'd have to.
Starbucks pulling off that from Webb's,
I don't know that.
because I'm trying to think how they're getting their water.
What
Or
did Friendlies do?
that's what they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
tied. Starbucks tied to whatever Friendlies had, but I don't know where that came from.
I don't know
Yeah,
that.
and I
either.
don't know if
that
they,
came from from the 16, if that came across.
I
the
don't know.
road.
Something tells me that at one point way back in the early days, Friendly's directional drilled that. But that might have been for the sewer too, because I don't, that was 25 years ago. I
we
don't
can figure
remember.
that out, Bill.
Right.
We can try.
So is that,
'Cause I
that
don't-
question should perhaps be sent to the Highway and Utilities Commission?
Our Public Works
Public
Division now.
Works, Yeah.
I mean, we,
I
could-
just
I mean,
slid that.
ideally, what you're gonna end up doing, you're gonna get somebody like Otter Creek to come in. They're gonna do like they did on Ranbury Road. They're gonna propose what this is gonna be, the cost, and say,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, I didn't think Ranbury Road was that expensive, really, to run that main down there.
No,
And just about everybody down there is hooked on it now.
yes, yeah.
So I don't know what the Sunoco station, where their water comes from. I don't know what any of those. Other down through there or I don't know.
That's something we'll have to figure out.
And I
Sure.
think we did an inquiry before we built the Ranbury Road one, asking the owners if they would hook on.
Yeah.
And most of them said yes,
And I
well in
I
advance.
think
and I
just everybody pretty much is now
Yeah.
down there. So I think that would be the step, is to see what's there in the ground now. And where these folks are getting water, and then, cause I do know that Sure wanted water, and I think they were just gonna run whatever up there, and I asked them, if we do it, and I just don't remember if the town got involved and, helped offset the cost of the bigger main, because
Yeah,
the NFPA doesn't allow you to put hydrants on 6-inch mains anymore. So you have to, run a main, so there would be a way to come up there. Ideally, you take the 8-inch main, extend it to Coal River Road, and then go up Coal River Road and tie it to Adele Stanley with 8 and tie to their 6, and that would be. That would
That
be
would
the
satisfy
ultimate
everything.
goal.
I'd get moved, yeah.
And, that would be.
It
the
would
ultimate
get rid of the 2 dead ends, and it would give you
Right.
fire down there
And,
for
and
all of that.
it's funny because when I heard what was going on, and I was thinking, well, they're only gonna have so much off the hydrant by Shearer, so they're gonna either run lines across the road, in which they ended up having to do.
Yeah, we laid 1,400 feet from sheer
Oh.
up there.
Yeah.
That was some gross water that came out
Cause it's a dead end.
yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
That was some gross water that came out of that first, but it's
Clear now, ain't it?
It supplied a deck gun and a.
Yeah.
It supplied a deck gun and a 2.5.
Cause
So.
the line coming down Seward Road is tied to the 16-inch main, right?
yes.
Yes.
Sure it is.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
It goes
so
across
that's
the road,
all,
yes.
so that's, there's,
doable.
yeah.
I don't have to look into it.
That's one of
For
the.
now, they're better off dropping a submersible pump down the well.
Yeah, well, that's what I told them. I'm like, you gotta get a hold of Parkers or somebody that does well stuff and because I told them municipal government grind slowly.
Yes.
Don't think this is gonna happen next week. It's
No.
not.
No, okay, it's
No.
not.
And I do believe that there's a little further south, is gonna kind of take precedence over any other construction right now.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
But it's a goal to look forward to.
But if that's something that we want to look at, I mean, it's gonna take time to do
Sure.
do
Preliminary
the
work.
the investigating work to figure out who's got what and what it's gonna take to get there and all of that, so.
Shouldn't be too bad digging. Is there a sidewalk there's a sidewalk on that side? isn't
Yeah.
there?
All the way up through.
Yeah, so they could either put it under the sidewalk or beside it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it is now, but,
Beside it.
is it beside it?
Yeah, they went between the sidewalk and Toyota, I
Yeah.
think. They
Okay.
went right up through there.
That's quite a long while ago.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so we'll look into it.
Okay.
You've got a committee working on it.
Yep. And that was, the only other thing I have is letter number A.
All right, action item A, discuss the purchase of an excavator for the highway department.
So,
We talked about water instead of sewer.
I know, that was good.
so looking now that we got the East Pittsford Road paving fell through.
Mhm.
I'd like to be able to pave as much as we were planning on paving without that grant and use that from your carryover. And your carryover is gonna get skinny, especially if we gotta come up with 120,000 for a box culvert. So. I don't know if we're gonna be able to pull it off this year or not. Is there? It's the only issue I'm seeing right now, that 330 grand's gonna go quick. I mean, we have a okay setup now renting, so we might just have to keep on doing that for the summer and
we've
The-
budgeted for
Well,
the
it-
rental, yeah.
So we have spent how much, Dave? In
About 42,000 since I've been here, so.
some 2.5 years, so we're spending 20 a year. So to add, I think that was one of the questions, was
Yeah.
the cost effectiveness.
Yeah.
The purchase of the machine will be it's a long-term investment. It's 15-20 year machine, so you're talking $150,000 to buy a machine and a trailer. Over 20 years, we could conceivably spend 400,000 to rent a machine. So just to give you an idea that, that part of it, depending on what we want to do with the paving, whether we want to take the carryover and put it into paving, what would that section of East Pittsford Road cost to be paved?
Well, I asked them to give me a price. I haven't got a price yet because we're gonna reclaim it instead of mill it. The reclaiming is gonna be a little bit less, I don't know, 75, 80 cents less per square yard, but you're gonna double your asphalt. So I think it was like 100 and I want to say 115, but
it's close.
I think there was
My-
something like 115 to do it.
115, 130, something like that.
It wasn't 130, it was in the teens. but-
Yeah.
So it's
My
something,
question to you is this. And I think you do terrific work. My concern right now is we have so much money going out. Could you hold on for another year?
I can hold on forever.
The idea, Sharon, is it's just more convenient and actually more cost
I
effective to own
understand
it.
convenient.
Right,
I
right.
also understand we have taxpayers
Right.
that are having hard times paying their taxes. And if he can hold out at least another year, that would give us a break.
It's that this isn't a tax burden at this point. We have the money. It's whether we spend it to buy a machine or buy paving. Those are
Yeah.
our choices.
Or a box culvert.
Or put it toward, the box culvert. We're gonna have to come up with 120, so we'll either have to put that in the budget for 1 year.
Yeah.
Which is a fair, sizable amount, or see what we have available to us when we make our decision in
I mean,
October, November.
we
Or
could-
would that be something that could be taken to the bridge out of depreciation?
The bridge, no, usually not, but that could
No,
be,
because it's a structure.
So there's,
We don't have that's something we could always look at someday, is some sort of structured depreciation account, but we don't have that.
so would this qualify? That would qualify for capital improvement funds if we had them
Yeah, we've never done that before though.
for a culvert. I mean, that's a long.
Yeah, no, we've pretty much
We-
kept to
And we-
doing it within the highway budget.
Yeah,
Because you guys have the one big advantage, which is the
The
carry.
carryover, but I'm just thinking if you
that's what,
didn't.
that's
wanna-
what we've always done with the carryovers. You try to build that up for these budgets, so you're not getting these big swings in the
It's
budgets.
basically 6 one, half the other. If highway didn't have that money would have been swept into the capital improvement fund. And that's where it would have been. This way, it doesn't get lost on other projects. It stays within highway. But I was just thinking, if we're trying to avoid additional taxation for $120,000 share of a culvert, would it be prudent, basically, we would be spending, the bulk of the capital improvement, it comes from the excess 1% money. So we'd be using that 1% money to fund a culvert. That'd be something to think about. To me, it fits within that. Usually we put it toward buildings, or we did buy 2 highway trucks with it. This would not be a stretch to put it toward a culvert and not have to Sharon's point, add that 120 into the taxes. So
so could I just run some of those numbers back to make sure I got them right here?
there's 330 in the carryover now. You're talking about spending maybe half of that on paving.
Or maybe 120,
It's 120,
say
yeah.
round number 120
And then maybe another 120
for the box culvert.
over.
And
Which would not, if you did both of those, you wouldn't have enough left to do
What
the
we-
excavator.
what we could do now, because we have this money, but as soon as we get the go ahead on that grant, we could get those easements busted out and we could put it out for like a September 12th or October completion date. And we could probably get that box culvert done this fall.
So,
That's-
so if you
I've
did
seen
both
plenty
of
of
those
bids
from,
go out, you know.
did both of those from carryover, you wouldn't have enough to do the excavator. If we put it on, you know, in the next budget, then obviously that's more on the taxpayer unless we go with 1%, which right now we don't have that money, but of course we're approaching the end of fiscal year. We'll know then. I mean, but that would be, you know, one of many things we would be considering, one of which might be just playing that on the tax rate or the fact that we have these bonds still and can we
Right.
continue to pay on the bonds from
Mhm.
some of that rather than, you know, because otherwise that's going to be hitting taxpayers. So I would rather punt on this for now. May I take Joe's point, if you're saying you're spending 20 a year on the rental and the machine's gonna last 20 years, then you're gonna spend more on the rental than you would if you bought it, probably. But, you know, I mean, and Kurt, do you agree with those numbers or do you?
I mean, we could probably get the rental down a little bit if we, you know, lined up some good projects and busted them out and returned the machine. And
As long as it doesn't
Yeah.
rain every day, but yeah.
if we
you
can
know,
get, if we can get JR to do weekly rentals with us and, you know, we can
Hmm.
blow out a week's worth of projects and bring it back and then blow out another week's worth of projects, you know. we
Usually
probably
rent it what day, by the month or by the
Yeah,
week?
by the month.
Yeah. So we might be able to get JR to do by the week with us and then we can,
The,
you know,
Yeah.
use it, you know, more hours and out of the rental. We might be able to get that down a little bit.
I really don't want to end up adding another 6-figure item
No,
to our budget.
Yeah.
you know, the idea was to not create any additional burden and by using the carryover, it would. And we just decide whether we want to do paving or buy a machine. That's pretty much what there's going to be some dip into that 330 to offset, overtures in the highway budget, mostly for maintenance on the equipment this year, because, you know, they had
yeah,
one of those winters when a lot of stuff breaks. And so there's an amount will come out of there. So realistically, there's probably going to be about 300,000 there. That's, would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
that's
Pretty
probably
close,
fair.
You know, so
In my opinion, the paving needs to get done. I mean,
If we don't-
upper East Pittsburgh Road's gone.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm just,
And the whole
that came out of that class 2 grant. They said no, so I just went back and took that piece and put it over here. And then, you know, I haven't even sat down and looked at how much of that development I can do yet.
Yeah. And that whole.
I got a hold of Tim and just said I need some
that's a
different numbers.
2 year,
That,
a year and a half project,
I mean, I figured that it was
cycle.
gonna be 2 years up there either way.
Right.
that-
no
that
matter
whole
what.
Development needs it. I
Maybe
mean,
they'll get
there's
done-
not a chunk of asphalt up there bigger than that.
By the time,
you
you
know.
know,
It's all cracked right to crap.
Pittsford?
Well, no, the whole development up there.
Oh,
Last time I was
it's
up-
not that bad, but yeah,
Last time I was up in there, it was like, whew, man.
it needs, there's some streets that need some love,
It's
but
to Rutland City
So-
standards.
I mean, the grant is kind of what, you know, if we'd got the paving grant, but I guess we were optimistic to get it 2 years in a row.
Well, that and we got structures grant too, so.
and that, I think that's really what it was. We hit them for $500,000 for
Yeah.
structures and then,
Yeah.
Which we'll take.
yeah.
Yes,
and then-
please.
So-
And
that-
then
that
I went after them
culvert's-
for another 100,000 for,
that culvert's getting pretty junky down
it's
there.
bad.
Yeah.
let me ask, well, all of you, the farmer's wife question. I used to go to auctions with Harold all the time to look at used equipment. Is there any such thing for used highway equipment? And can you get a deal on a,
You
you
could,
know.
you could buy a V-Trans, like a V-Trans trade-in, you could buy something from the surplus auction, straight direct from V-Trans.
maybe we should be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they've had pop up. V-Trans unfortunately runs them.
And that's
Alright.
way competitive. Like people come from other states for that. Because I
the
think
problem-
Vermont is there's only like 2 or 3 states in the country that still do like a state municipal auction.
Right,
They're
we're one of them.
And we're one,
they're
and they come from
open up.
everywhere.
They're opening up now. Municipalities can buy direct before the auction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been starting to do that the last couple of
Okay.
years, but I
Right.
don't know what they've had. The issue with V-Trans machines is they're bigger than what we need normally.
Personally,
Wow.
not that the truck purchase got us through and got our foot in the door and it's worked, but I have there's things to go wrong with little dinosaurs that bothers me to buy a used one.
Well,
And
that's the case in any.
Right,
know,
and I'm
any
just thinking if
vehicle,
we're gonna
really.
spend our money, you buy a machine that comes with a few year warranty and we're not pressed. I mean, Dave has been doing projects. One of the things we have been saving is, Dave hasn't been hired outside contractors as much to do culvert work. They're doing the renting
Yeah.
machine doing the work. We have the trucks now, we have the crew.
Yeah.
So they can do that pretty good. They've got enough guys to do flagging and everything. So this is just like the next step. It's, I guess I'd like to see it done now, but there are maybe other pressing things, the road build might be more pressing at this point. And we can continue down this road. The culvert thing, I think once this fiscal year ends, we know what we have for funds. We can decide how to come up with our portion of the grant
Mhm.
for our 120 on that, whether it's, partially through the budget, partially through the capital improvement, or some other thing, but,
We can always put the excavator on the ballot in March and let the people decide.
and that's
That's
another
the-
option.
That's the
We haven't had to
traditional,
do that for a
no, but that's
long
the
time.
traditional way of how the town had always,
Bought
anytime,
equipment.
the town wanted to add equipment to a fleet, they always put it on the ballot. That's
Yeah,
the
and then
historical.
but not in my time on the board. I don't think we've put.
Maybe not in your time, but historically,
That's-
that's,
Back.
as-
anytime
Because
the
we
town
put the
wanted to,
depreciation
But the-
accounts in place.
depreciation's
you've-
only to replace existing
Well,
equipment.
that's because we changed the wording on it.
But no, it's
Yes.
always been
Yeah,
that
but
way.
that's what it's always been directed at.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
anytime we wanted to add a
Add.
piece of equipment, it always went on the ballot.
or we
I
found
think
somewhere.
even the fire trucks, when they wanted to add fire
When
trucks.
when we expanded to one more, we asked for the money. I believe we did.
That was like 15 years ago. The modern group of voters are going to be wondering, why are we paying both for a depreciation account and a new equipment fund? So we would have to be able to explain that. I heard your
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah,
so.
it's because we're adding to the fleet.
So,
Dave-
well, let's see what happens because we've got the last quarter of 1% tax coming in. We've got, see what our carryover looks like. We've got other expenses.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
finish
this is not life and death. If there was a
No.
project they needed to do that was gonna cost the town a bunch of money to rent a piece of equipment, I guess I could be more
Yeah,
forceful, but given, that structures grant is more valuable to the town than the class 2 paving grant. So, and if Dave wants to do that upper section and put that money, we have it. I mean, that's there, and I think that'll be fine. And Wilkes is not gonna be upset with doing more paving.
No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I should have that number by the end of the week, I would think. It's
And
a matter of,
we can
Put
get
the
on.
numbers in, yeah.
So the answer on A is no for now.
Yep.
Till we understand better what the end of the year numbers look like anyway. And I trust you folks would bring it up again if you felt.
Well, yeah, I
It's a
mean,
good
in the
time.
long run, purchasing a machine over renting a machine is the better financial goal, but if we're stretched too thin now, then 20,000 for this year looks a lot less than 140.
Yes.
So and
And I
that
think you're
works.
gonna have fun with the East Pittsford Road, because there are holes all over the place.
oh, I know. And we fill them and they're back tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
They're just,
Okay, we got anything more for Dave and the highway folks?
we've approved his purchase of the truck, right? I believe. We had the money, the 234,000.
Thought we voted on it
yeah, we did.
How
You
So
far
it's all
back?
good and well, I just want to make sure that
2 weeks ago.
a month ago,
Maybe, yeah.
I think it was
I was
a
gonna
month
say
ago,
the-
we talked,
wouldn't be in these minutes.
it's in
Bill
the-
can take a quick look at the
it's
minutes and make
in,
sure we've approved it.
Dave,
I don't know.
Down
if
You got
it's in
your
the
minutes?
eight.
where our
I've always
farmhouse
got
is,
them.
do you know where I'm
I
talking?
think
I go
it's,
online and look at them quite
Down
often, but I.
well, I was
There's an
going to come in
underground.
and look, this is the March
I've seen underground
28th, 25th
river
meeting.
that goes right under there.
Oh, it would have been
So just so you know, that's why
for
that,
Dave.
and
6.
they drained some of it into our.
The April 8th.
meadows.
I'm looking
And
at
Steve
the
had let them do it.
last March on 25.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it might have
hurt
been the
anything.
week, the
But it gets
meeting
it.
after that. It was the 25th or the 8th.
I mean, he grew up there, so he knew.
Right.
And it
April
comes
8th,
down through
Nailed it.
Countryside Estates,
Number 6.
right under the
Number
road.
6?
Letter D.
That's
What
why
does it
you see all
say?
the big
Yes,
problems
number.
right in there.
For how much?
So,
285 minus trading
Yeah.
credit of $50,000.
yeah, Steve,
And the money
I
to
mean,
come from?
if you're gonna go over and
Okay.
Steve can show
So
you.
usually I
these.
do, I throw them in here, so if something comes
Yeah.
up,
Well, you know where mine is
Yeah.
anyway.
So the answer is yes, we've approved,
you're all set.
we've approved
So
your
that,
truck.
I just want, I know the clock starts at some point.
So it basically started yesterday.
Okay.
Because they assigned us a VIN number yesterday.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
with the, and then I don't know, you can ask that, the warranty on the vehicle, when does it start? When we register it or when we start the process?
I will ask them, but it should be once we take delivery.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I will
because,
make sure of that.
because I think if you register that now, then that goes in somehow with the company and then it becomes, it starts when you register it, I think, but we don't want to lose 14
no.
months of warranty.
Mm-mm.
No,
Because you got the 7-year extended warranty.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
All right. Anything else for Dave?
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Dave.
Have a good night.
You too.
Big screen.
Yeah.
Ed Dumas, but it looks like Ted Washburn.
And on vacation.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi.
So we'll start with the stats for April.
Yes, please.
So the top sheet is
Bless
Lynn's
you.
sheet, which is what, 79 South End cases out of a total of the 159 calls we had. So it was 50%
Okay.
of our calls were out of South End. The other stats were the 159 calls and 39 traffic stops. Nothing earth shattering as far as the calls that we're going to.
So
Is Alderman the thing? It's
the
a little bit harder
percentage, does it include, I'm not doing my math
That's
quickly.
okay.
Does that include the 39 stops?
No, so
Okay.
I subtract. So overall, it was because Valcor starts a call when we do a car stop,
Mhm.
there was 198 in total.
Okay.
So we
gotcha,
subtract the car stops because I don't need to have those in there.
Gotcha.
So on this page here, you have a line for Green Mountain Plaza, but then you have separate for Hanford's and Michael's and
Because they're all a different address through E911.
Oh,
So 296 US Route 7 South is the plaza, but 300 is Staples, 318 is Hannaford's, 320 is Dick's. And they all have to be correctly put in for location through E911.
what is the plaza? What is that?
So that's anything
lot.
basically in the parking lot.
oh.
Parking lot
Yeah.
doesn't have a number.
Anything that's not in one of the stores, we classify it as the plaza. Out front, out back.
Is the Cortina operating as a hotel?
Yes, it is. And state police have been down there for one welfare check last night. They're open to, my understanding is they're open to paying customers.
Yeah, I drove around and it looked pretty empty, but there were a couple of cars parked out front.
I understand the state police also had to visit the mall.
We visited the mall, the state police have visited the mall. I know it reached out, they said they were going to fix it, but I don't know if they have or not.
They said they put plywood up and they are addressing the cars that are not supposed to be there.
Yeah. So we've had calls about kids breaking down everything, going in. We're not going in because that's just a nightmare and a half trying to do that. And so we'll wait. Nothing ever came of the kids coming out of there. And then state police went up for something similar, kids going into the building, but there was a report of an assault that was unfounded. And then there were campers and other things like that.
I did
up
see
there.
the campers up there.
So I did respond to the 250 permit thing too.
Everybody heard it was getting
So-
more down. They were.
You didn't.
Well, just the bill. He had sent it out to say if there were any issues. I
Tried
said,
to get 'em.
see any
Now,
issues.
hold off until you actually see the permit application.
Okay.
That's actually for all of the department heads. You can't really fill out a municipal impact questionnaire until you see the whole of the Act 250 application. Because you got to see the narrative. The maps don't do it by themselves. So
Okay,
you'll have to do another one. So just fair warning.
thank you.
Okay.
About the stats. The new cruiser, the equipment that we were waiting on has been shipped. And I talked to them today. They are getting their fleet guys ready. So when the stuff comes in, they can just immediately start working on our car. Rough time frame, hopefully end of the month.
Hmm.
So,
You get the new one.
yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to play out. I think that's how it's supposed to play out, but
Okay, we'll see.
so there was that. Kari asked for some clarification. So in the,
We've got a finance personnel committee meeting coming up. That's the clarification you were asking about.
no,
Oh,
this has to,
different.
so at the last police committee meeting, we talked about the Motorola bill being higher than we anticipated.
Okay.
But it's not, we're not gonna go over budget in total, but we would go over the equipment line.
Mhm.
There was the mention that, yes, we understand you can't go over your whole budget, but Kari asked for clarification to make sure we had approval to purchase the amount because it is $8,619.
Was it in the last batch we just signed?
No, it wasn't.
It was
So-
already, so wait, this is for the new contract or the
So this
billing
was
of
the
the
con-
existing contract?
This was the contract that is for our body cameras and for our in-cruiser cameras. So we budgeted for the contract for the body cameras, but not the in-cruiser cameras.
Right.
That was on me.
But the contracts, were they already approved?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of, it's just a budget snafu. I think it was already approved.
Okay.
Concept.
Gonna show an overage in that line item, but hopefully your entire budget
We will be under.
should be okay.
Yeah, we did have a little discussion about that at the police committee meeting. Discussed
about it
the
last week.
agreement with Motorola WatchGuard for the body camera system. Is that the one? No?
Yes.
Combined storage invoice was received this year for body camera and cruiser video. Total budget for this year should not be overspent.
Correct.
So we didn't feel the need to make any unless you feel the need for us to, he's within budget over on one line, but within budget.
It started because you had to ask them about
Yeah.
the way that it was set up, first of all, so that it rolled itself into other questions.
Okay,
so.
as it often does. Okay. I'm glad you're asking them. Thank you.
There was that. I think that's all I had. Didn't have much.
Okay. Any questions for our deputy chief?
Not with budgets, not with anything. It's about rules of the road.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, boy.
these folks that like to mow lawns and park in the traveled portion. of the highway,
Okay.
I don't think that's, especially right across from the new public safety building. Those folks mow the lawns across the road, right on the
Hmm.
crest of that hill. I don't believe that's acceptable, but so I don't know how you
These are
guys.
the commercial services with the trailers
Yes.
behind
Because
them
either they
and
can't
park
drive
behind
and
them.
back into a driveway or they can't back out, so they park in the traveled portion of the highway. And
some put
some
cones out,
places are
some don't.
very, I mean, that's kind of a
I've run
dangerous,
into not literally run into,
That's
but
a
I've come
dangerous spot.
on a
It is.
couple. Yeah.
this morning, there was a tree service company just up the road, right on the crest of the hill, 2, 3 trucks in the road, nobody flagging traffic, and it's right at the crest of the hill on McKinley Avenue, one of the busier roads. And I just don't know what the rules are.
So anytime, I'm gonna pull this one. If you're obstructing the general flow of traffic, you are supposed to have flaggers or traffic control. Which is the way it's supposed to be for that reason, especially
Right.
when you have 3 tree trucks and things like that. They are supposed to have a flagging crew because they are interrupting the general flow of traffic. We've, I won't say turned a blind eye, but we've all encountered the lawn mowing crews that do exactly like it says. And I think it comes down to where are they doing it or where are they doing it? Is it a flat stretch or is it on a curb or if it's on a crest? If it's someplace where it shouldn't be happening, by all means, call us and we'll go talk to the crews and tell them to
Because
move.
you can figure out the day they're across the road from the building, go
Yeah.
talk to them.
So I've seen them over there, I think once so far. I
Yeah,
don't know. if-
I mean, we're coming into the season, so it's
Yeah.
starting, and
Yeah, by all means, call, if they're in a dangerous, or you think they're in a dangerous spot, call us.
Yeah.
We'll go down, take a look, talk to them and see if we can remedy a
I mean, you've already
solution.
rectified one situation on McKinley Avenue, couple houses up where, it seems like it's, yeah, if it was a straight stretch and you can see both ways, another place is a corner of Pinnacle Ridge Road and Grove Street, just one house in. So when you're making that turn, there's a truck and a trailer right there and you can't see the oncoming.
Mhm.
And I hate bothering you guys every time I see this stuff, but
Yeah,
it's like,
but that's why we're here.
yeah, I know, but it's like, I just think people should be smarter than that, but, and it might just be a pet peeve of mine, because I don't like.
No,
obstructing
I understand it completely. So, and they're looking at it from the standpoint of they're just doing it out of ease. They don't
Yeah.
want to take the extra 5 seconds to
Mhm.
either, like you said,
Either.
back in or pull in or whatever.
Right.
They just want to be lazy about it.
And I don't think there's any flashing lights on either.
Well, they leave their hazard flashers on or whatever. Today, that truck up there, they had one trailer unhitched and that was in the road with no lights and whatever. And I should have stopped and talked to you guys, but I was late for an appointment and I just kept going and it was right there in the crest of that hill on McKinley Avenue. So you
Right,
pull out
right.
around them and
There you are.
if you're driving the speed limit, it's gonna be okay. But you can ask JP how fast they come down McKinley.
Yeah.
So
So we all, yeah, no.
Oh, Campbell Road too.
two
Campbell.
people meeting at 50 miles an hour on Pestaway.
Mhm.
Anyway, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thanks very much. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director.
Evening all, how are you?
Hello.
First, a huge thank you to Chief Clark, Chief Dumas, and to Sharon for our senior luncheon last week. The food was phenomenal. It was chicken and salad and mashed potatoes, very buttery mashed potatoes, and we had a very strawberry shortcake, all homemade from my secret chef. And for Chris to pull the trucks out and get the bays ready to go, and Bill helping us set up. And then the tour afterwards, just to look at their expressions, was actually really cool. They asked a lot of questions. They got to see where their money was spent. And for me, that was a win-win. I'm really glad that we did it that way, because Ed's walking down the hall and I go, Ed, you got to go give a speech to them. I was literally joking with Ed. 20 minutes later, I'm like, Ed, all right, we got to have him look at the other part. He went in and did a fantastic job explaining like the whole budget and the process and what they actually do and what they can do. And literally we basically had to kick them out because they were just so impressed with
Hello,
the facility.
what up?
And, I want to thank everybody that
Driving home.
helped make that day. I thought that was a huge win-win for our
Yeah, I got
seniors
the-
in our town
Thank
to
you all.
see.
Thank you, Sharon, very
Yes.
much.
She's a
secret
secret weapon,
chef.
secret
Oh, I
weapon.
was trying to get the stupid.
So our
on my
next
phone.
senior function is the 22nd, which is a Thursday. That's the jazz
What are you
bands
doing?
from Rutland Town and from West Rutland are playing at the Rutland Town, at the West Rutland Town Hall.
Oh.
It is a party. We dubbed it the border war, whatever you want to call it. East meets West, however you want to do
I
it.
feel bad because you're in pain.
And so if you can attend, that would be really cool. You'll be entertained for about an hour with music. Each group's going to plan to play about a half hour. So if you can make it over there, that would be great. For the seniors as well. As far as everything else, been mowing in the rain, been mowing in whatever, been doing whatever I can to get everything up and running, and it's moving along nicely. The pool is ready to be cleaned out this next week, and we're hoping to turn it on the 24th, which is when, or the 23rd is when we traditionally turn it on. That is Memorial Day weekend. And
That's kind of okay.
the fields look good. Dewey looks really good with the transplant for the grass. So if you get a chance to go over, it looks like it's starting to look like it used to in the old days, which is awesome.
This
And
much
then
rain, you
Northwood
can
is
make
coming
grass
back.
grow anywhere.
Yes, and it's doing
That's weird,
great.
'cause
And
a couple times I've
many
been there,
thanks to
it's like
everybody.
storm
They
out
are
there.
replacing
Yeah.
the inside of the sand filters at the pool, both of them with baffle and sand. And I just got the call from the guy yesterday. They're
Yeah.
gonna do something, I believe on the 16th
Oh, well.
is when they're gonna start doing that, and hope to have it done in a couple of days. They have to actually, A1 sucks
will.
out the sand.
Yeah.
They find this,
Yeah, I'll
they
see where
do
this
the rock,
meeting
paper,
thing lines
scissors
up.
of the smallest guy who goes inside
I'll
and
call you,
replaces
I don't know,
everything.
stop being a retard.
And then they fill it back up, and then we'll be
All
good
right.
to go.
All right,
So
bye.
a lot going on. Baseball started today. Of course, it's not raining, and I canceled because it was supposed to rain. So I'm going to get all those phone calls and emails, but it is what it is. So everything is really rocking and rolling at this point. And we'll be good. We did have a committee meeting, so either Sharon or Matt can go over that. We had it
Matt's
just
gonna
before.
take care of it this time.
Perfect. Love it. So
Look at that
if you
grin.
don't have any other questions for me at this point, we're moving right along, which is great. So I don't know, Matt, if you want to
Mhm.
give a synopsis of what we did earlier, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll give you a synopsis of two items. I don't want to relive the whole committee meeting, but basically, Mike's had an issue come up with the maintenance position that the part-time maintenance position that we have during the summer. The person who's been doing it is not able to do it this year. So we need a workaround. There's a couple different ways that could be done, but one of those could involve hiring an existing town employee to work those hours. And that just raises some questions about how we handle overtime and what rules apply. So what I would like to do is run that question by town council and or Teresa to get an answer
Yeah.
so we can, I think we can make it work regardless of what the answer is, but we need to know what the answer is so we implement
Okay.
it properly.
Do you want to call Kevin?
I can call Kevin.
I'd appreciate a different voice, I think.
Sure. Yeah, and the related issue with that too is, if overtime rules apply, we would run into trouble with our comp time policy, how it would get implemented across departments and stuff. So you gotta be careful about that.
And
So that
actually,
was-
that would apply in other places too, potentially. So that would be good to know.
Right.
So that was that issue. So I'll get with Kevin about that and then report back. And the other issue is just kind of an FYI that we're going to be running into a problem with lifeguards potentially at Northwood because the lifeguards need to be certified every 2 years, and the bulk of that has traditionally been done through the high school's year-end studies program with a class run through the city rec, and right now that's not happening. So we have some people returning who are licensed that don't need certified who don't need recertification this year. But we need more people who are not certified. So Mike's gonna be making some calls, but we may be shorthanded, and that could have a domino effect on the programming we're able to offer, and it just it is what it is. Well, we'll see what we can do about it, but that was a low cost way of getting our lifeguards certified, and that's not currently available. So
Yeah, Mike does have somebody for next year.
Hopefully.
How do you become a certifier?
Well, you just have to take a course. I've already reached out before this happened, just happenstance, to a person to see if they were interested in, a summertime job, and part of that responsibility would be to get certain, I told them I would pay for them to become a lifeguard instructor, to certify lifeguards, to teach the course. And they were interested in that, but I told them that would be happening the following year because I would have to budget all of that for the following year. And they're a former lifeguard, they're a town resident. And it would work great if they choose to do that, then we would be in a really good situation. Everything else that's happened has put us in a very different situation. I guess I suppose I could go get certified to teach lifeguards. I got enough going on rather than to teach how to be a lifeguard. But there is a potential remedy to the situation, but it could get kind of dicey this year. I might have to cancel certain lessons or not offer them. Staffing could be an issue because we have some kids that don't come back, which is fine, but I always have a crew that I can hire. Well, now that crew has to travel over to Hanover to get certified, spend Googles of money, and that doesn't really happen until July. We open in June. Then the ones that have to get recerted, they don't have a place to get recerted. So they're technically not able to be a lifeguard. So I don't know exactly. I have to look, but I might have 5 that are actually certified. And I normally carry 13 or 14.
What do other municipalities with pools do?
To be honest, a lot have run through.
Well, maybe it's an intermunicipal agreement to hire somebody to do it this year would be.
And that's a
Find
possibility,
somebody,
but the issue is that most pools are opening within the month.
Yep.
And to find somebody that's like, I got something literally on Thursday that they offered a lifeguarding class at VAC starting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
I got it Thursday.
A little short.
Great.
And then the other one was a research class, which was either the week before or right after. So I sent it out to kids but it's also, 400 and something bucks.
Do we usually pay that?
We usually pay for research, but that is maybe, we usually end up paying maybe an 1/8.
Mhm.
We've been very fortunate for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And now that's why I'm looking hopefully to get this going, but it does not do me any good for this year. So I'm just forewarning you that there could be days where I don't open and it could be 100 degrees. I just don't have people to run it. If things fall, but I know one's taking it in July. That's wonderful. The others are trying to find a place to take it, but it doesn't look like anytime soon. So I'm just kind of forewarning you that there could potentially be a problem. And I don't have a great solution right yet. I'll try my one last trick and maybe that'll save me, but I'm not going to say that now as to what that is. But just want you to know, if you get phone calls like, why is the pool closed? It's 100 degrees. And I'm like, well, I had 2 lifeguards that could work. That's why the pool's closed. Because I don't have kids, because that whole debacle has helped us tremendously over the years. And I used to have a lady that did certify her kids and she decided to retire last year, which was great. She was awesome. But there's really nobody else around here. And that's where people will go. Like I know, for example, last year they took the Tapestry kids from the city, the adults, and they bused them over to UVAC for a week to become certified lifeguards for their Tapestry program. So it's just, hopefully things will work out in our favor with this person that I have in mind. And, I keep my fingers crossed, but that's for next year. That's not really going to help us right now. So that's where we stand. So if you have any, that was basically the gist of our committee meeting, but yeah. Which shouldn't pull into conversation, but townwide celebration.
Yeah, actually,
I'm
that's.
telling you
on
that
the
because
list.
the kids start to go back to college, go off to college. So this could be a parking lot event looking at a pool that nobody's in. I'm just literally hoping it doesn't, but I'm just, that just clicked in right there. So
If
the
you,
tentacles have come our way.
if you have to, could you like, if you have to close on certain days and to save lifeguard time for townwide celebration, can you do that?
It's
I don't think it's bodies.
it's not about, it's the bodies, like the last week of August,
Hmm,
like I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 seniors. Well, they're gonna leave mid-August.
mhm.
Okay. If I have a couple of underclassmen and if these 5, 6 people that are applying, if they're certified, we should be okay because it's a Saturday and usually it's not a sports day and most of the kids are into sports, so that's when fall sports start.
Mhm.
College kids, depending on when they have to go back, they might go early or not. So it's kind of like a crapshoot. But if I don't have the younger group to stay and the college kids have to go to college, so the seniors that are graduating this year that are going to college, some start, Labor Day weekend. Well, some are gone the second week of August. But I've always had enough to make it work. I'm just
Okay.
throwing that out that this could be an issue for this year. I'll have a better idea once we get going, so I don't want to hit panic button. I just want you to be aware and not come to you and say, by the way, yeah, this is happening.
Okay. Appreciate
You
that.
know that this might happen. You know it now. So try to do the best I can is all I can offer.
And then you compound, if the teachers go out on strike,
Oh, there's so many, like,
I mean,
there's
if you have to,
so much
if they
going
have
on.
to work,
Moving parts.
if they have to go to school later in the year, it's gonna be,
Yep, there's lots of moving parts to all that's going on lately around here on the people in the innie.
The only thing I was trying to anticipate things, but I think this is more a Bill question for this year, as I understand the who's in charge when. And a Sharon question. Townwide celebration, don't we usually try and get something out to the school kids? Did we do that last year to get flyers out so the school kids take them home and parents know about townwide celebration?
A lot of times what also happened was we sent it up to the 8th grade parents who did a fundraising for their trips. Now, that's why the 8th graders were helping because you were making a donation. This year, this is the last DC trip for the school.
Okay.
And next year's 8th grader going on day trips.
Okay.
So the cost there was multiple reasons why people were not able to go on the trip. The cost of the trip was in the 30,000 for it. It's almost $1,000 a person to go. Extremely expensive. So they're doing day trips and they decided they're going to go like canoeing and then canoeing down a river and then doing the Killington thing. They're going to go.
So are they fundraising for?
They'll
any of this?
fundraise
Okay.
for some of it, but it's not going to be anywhere near the amount of money that they would have to fundraise for the DC trip.
Okay. All right.
They're all day trips. There's no overnight. They're doing like 3-day trips.
So who do we talk to about seeing if we have?
I would just
people
reach out to
helping
the
as runners?
school and the school could give you that information. The principal or the secretary over at the school, they'll be able to let you know. If they want to put flyers out, yes, that's great. They send a bi-weekly email home and you can send something over and
Good.
they can run that.
yeah, you
I
had
will
your
know.
8th grade group,
You will?
I will know.
didn't you, helping us last?
Yes, the 8th graders typically help us because they're raising, the incoming 8th grade.
Yeah.
So this year's 7th grade group, which is only a class of 26. Yeah. They're the smallest class we've had in a long time. So, considering we're graduating in a class of 53.
Cause they were great.
Yes, and they had been. So you can, if you want to send a flyer over to school, they can put it in the weekly email and you can send it to me and I can give it to the parents they're just starting to gear up for their raising
Okay.
money for their trips, though it's not as substantial as the DC trip.
The flyer, I have the flyer, we've done it every year.
Mhm.
We typically call out the events that are happening there, but we haven't had a townwide celebration meeting to discuss any events, so I don't know. I can
Okay.
create it, but there's not, I don't know what to necessarily put on it, so
Sounds like we have a meeting.
yes, we need to do
So
that.
set up a meeting.
Well, Billy set up a meeting and I'll be in attendance. Your last time to set it up?
Who's on the committee with you? Am I?
You have been,
How
yes.
about I usually show.
Or is
up.
this a new one?
Behind you, Mike.
Yeah,
I know it's me
I know it's you. Who else?
and I think
Kurt
it's
was-
Matt. It was Kurt.
celebration is Sharon and Kurt.
I'm still on it.
And he's driving the little,
I know.
He's driving the centipede.
So-
Yeah.
so I figured that you would certainly help cook. That I could
Matt's-
count it
Matt
and
was pretty
Matt.
good, yeah.
We did a good job
Yeah,
last year.
We did fine.
And we'll take you off sausages because I know you.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. What we need is, well, that we can get into all of that at
Let's not
Townwide
have
Celebration
another
Committee meeting.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Thank
um,
you, Mary.
That's all I had for Mike. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Let us know if you need something from us for the whatever fix you might have for the lifeguard situation. if
Yeah,
there
I'll have to
is.
look at money I can pull from somewhere. If I have to pay for some of this. Like I said, we've been very lucky and now we're not. And hopefully we'll get back in the lucky department later on.
Well, let's hope your ace in the hole
We'll see.
will be.
Cool beans. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chris Clark, Town Fire Chief.
Good evening.
There he is.
Let's see. We participate.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Phone's broke.
There he is.
There he is.
And all right, we cannot hear you if you're talking.
No. All right. Good evening, everybody.
There's the green box.
That's us. No
It's
Chris.
us.
Uh-oh.
All right, Bill is checking to see if,
Good evening.
Hang on, Chris. Right now.
Good evening.
oh, much better.
There.
Thank you. So let me start by thanking you and the firefighters for their response to the fire down the south end on, it was Saturday, right?
It was Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, and Kurt for his efforts with Clarendon Fire Department. So thank you very much.
Well, we'll try to help when we can. Unfortunately, that was a little beyond savable when we got there, but everything went well. Like I learned close to 30 years ago, you always fight a fire better the following day than you do with the actual. The owner of that building did call me a few times about the water for the bank, so I did pawn that off on Dave. So sounds like he's got that under control.
Yeah.
We went to the Loyalty Day Parade on Sunday. We had a couple trucks in there with a handful of members.
Good.
We're going to West Rutland on the 26th for their parade for Memorial Day. So I'll have a truck or two over there with some people. Open house, of course, is on the 17th, so we're ready for that. I did want to schedule a committee meeting if possible.
Yes, please.
Before the next board meeting. I got a few things to bring up.
Okay, good, because I was thinking we probably should, and do you have the bylaws for us to consider, or is this other business?
We're doing the bylaws monthly, so we're not through them all yet. I got a couple that I could share with you, but I got some other things to bring up also.
Okay. Could you send me and Kurt emails about available dates that work for you, unless you know them right now?
I can. Any day should work for me. Just has to be after 3:30.
Okay,
That works for me too.
okay. All right, we'll see what we can set up.
All
Good,
right.
thank you.
Just kind of a heads up thing for the next budget. I went to a county meeting last week and learned that in 2027, you're no longer able to buy gear with PFOAs in it because it's cancer causing. So the gear we have will still be usable up till the 10-year rule. But after that, it's all the new stuff, which is almost $1,000 more a set than a normal set now. So, but we got a couple of years, so we'll figure that out when the time comes.
We'll start budgeting, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. I did have one question for Joey. I know they canceled paving because it was raining, but do you have any idea when and if I have to take the trucks out of there?
Yes, so I was gonna wait till my turn, but I can tell you now. So the plan is Monday. They have given up on this week entirely. So probably the idea would be to take them out Monday morning like you were gonna do this week, and then house them temporarily, at the highway garage. Depending on the weather, the concern is to let the pavement, cool and set so the trucks don't tear it up. So whether you want to be there a day or two or overnight, that'll, if they pave it on Monday and it were to rain Monday night or Tuesday, it would be great, but the forecast doesn't show that. But right now they're planning on Monday. So probably first thing Monday morning would be most convenient for you. That way they would be there, or whenever, but we can work that out how you want to do it.
All right, might just try to do it Sunday just so I can get people to, because we'll have to take our gear with us also.
Right.
So I don't have to do it with me and you and whoever else, but I'll try to do it Sunday if you think they're gonna pave on Monday.
Yeah, that's, Gary called me this morning. He said that's what they're planning on, because next week does look a little bit. They're shooting for Monday.
All right, perfect. And there can be a bunch of cars parked on it by Saturday, correct? Won't hurt it.
I think the cars will be all right. The biggest concern is with the fire trucks being heavy and, either turning too short or static steering, sitting in one place and turning the front wheels to back in, things like that, till it cures good. But I think the cars should be all right there. Obviously you're gonna want the truck there Saturday, so
Right.
we should have them back. I think we should be okay by Saturday.
I imagine you could probably bring them back Wednesday night, honestly.
Yeah.
Once the asphalt's cold, it's
It should be good. So, if Dave's okay with you inhabiting his premises for a couple of days, you should be all right. And then bring them back. Like Wednesday night, maybe that's what you do for your Wednesday night stuff. Just go get them and bring them back.
Yep. All right. I will talk to Dave.
All right.
Okay, well, we have you, and Deputy Chief Washburn is here, and Joey is here, and Bill is here. Let's go down to action item. Oh, sorry. You
I'm
have
sorry.
more.
Yes, there's
Oh,
more.
no.
I just wanted to mention for the fire truck thingamajig. If you're gonna move them on Sunday, I can't guarantee you everything will be cleaned up from the tree sale. She's gonna try to get everything cleaned up Saturday if she can. But if not, there might be stuff in that middle bay. So, I don't know. We're committed to this tree thing, and this coming Sunday thing came out of left field. So,
Okay.
Well, we can do Monday. I'll figure something out if it's easier.
yeah, I guess if you wanted, I don't know how you're going to store your gear there. It's going to have to be in a pile or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could bring that up Sunday, but that doesn't help you if you got a call on Sunday, I guess.
Yeah, I'll figure something out. I'll just.
It very well may be the last couple of years they've been out of there Saturday, so it's not been an issue. But this girl's new, and this is all kind of new to her, and I don't know.
Okay. She's gonna have help there, so
Okay.
you can, she's gonna have more help than usual, so you can mention to her it needs to be cleared out by Saturday, by the end of the program Saturday,
Okay.
okay?
I will evict her in due course.
You got the most popular place in town, Dave.
I know.
Apparently. Wow.
Yeah.
Need to start charging tickets or something.
All right.
All I had, Mary, unless someone has a question.
Well, I wanted to move a little bit to the public safety building open house while we have all of you folks. So, the Circle did run a picture of the building and a notice that the, open house would be May 17th from 11 to 1. I've talked with the secret chef about possibly baking a bunch of cookies and having someone assist with that. And then we need probably just, we can pick up the, juice, cider, whatever. Make it real simple. We're not going to feed people. We don't want you to, barbecue steaks or anything. Not that you were probably planning on it. So we'll just do like simple refreshments, nothing heavy duty. We should at least introduce the folks and thank them who have been helping us, VMS, Vic Shappy, Ed Clark, JP, and Joey as clerks of the work in their 2 iterations. And so question and figure out who wants to do the introductions and small, very brief remarks. Anybody here like to do that?
I think Mary Ashcroft would do a fine job. So I nominate Mary Ashcroft.
Thanks.
All in favor?
All right, well, I'll keep it short. I promise you that. So if you know somebody specifically I should thank or not forget to mention, please do let me know that. Do we have some kind of a sound system? Or are you going to put me on one of the sound systems on one of the fire trucks?
Yeah, give her the PA mic in the fire truck. Good enough.
Yeah.
No. Don't.
Okay.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay. All right. Because somebody in the back is
Could
going to
we
say,
take one of the
speak up,
portable-
can't hear. So,
Portable mobile radios and hook a speaker to it?
Yeah.
The ones in 41, Billy. Could you work it through one of those?
Broadcast that. We'll see.
Yeah, broadcast it over the radio, then play it over the station speaker.
Yeah.
okay.
There's
Does this make
options.
me a DJ maybe
Yeah.
for 15 minutes?
There's options.
Turntable.
What's the projected time?
Backward. It is from 11 to 1. All right. And I'm guessing remarks sort of things will be somewhere between noon and 12:30. Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to charge Bill with kind of coordinating this. Do either of the departments need anything? Will each of the departments have someone on hand to kind of give guided tours or tell people, hands off the fire trucks, or, you don't get to be fingerprinted today, or things like that? You're all
They
set?
may not want to be, huh? You never know what we're gonna find out.
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay. Okay. Chris, do you need anything?
I don't believe so. I believe we're all set.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you both for indulging us so that we can have an open house. But I think it's important, judging by how the seniors reacted, it sounds like, I think we have interest and we want people to develop good pride in this new building because they're going to be paying the bond on it for the next 10 years. So, we
I
want to show them.
think that with the seniors, with that, they were surprised at what was all in there. And I think a lot, I never heard one of them say, why'd we spend so much money on this building? It was quite the opposite. And,
Yeah.
they were pretty proud of what their money was spent on. So I think that was a good feeling.
And I keep coming back to what the interest rate is on our bond, which is what, 3.1?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
You were.
These
What's out
days
there.
compared with what's out there. Okay, so
The,
thank you all. Let me know if you need anything else on open house, Joe.
I don't know when VMS is going to get the parking places striped out. That may or may not be done by next Saturday. So there'll be some, things there. And this doesn't have, but I'll wait till after you're done with the open house stuff, because I have one more thing for
Well, I
Chris.
was gonna ask if police officers direct traffic anymore. Is that still? Okay.
We might have.
Yeah,
Might,
yeah, that's,
you might.
it could be quite, yeah.
Well, yeah, I wonder, should we have some of the firefighters and the police officers maybe park their personal vehicles, like, I don't know, down at State Place or something, so we have extra parking?
Could do that.
I was thinking if we've got,
It's a really good
you know, if
idea.
10
in
guys
fact.
show up for the fire department and you got, you know,
Brand new gated area that we can dive
yeah,
Okay,
No, it's free.
all right.
might have to tuck some,
You can keep them,
might have to tuck some people some places so we have enough parking.
Carpool up the
but
hill.
I did,
Yeah, that's true.
but I didn't mention that, yeah. I
Fire
did.
truck down and load everybody in it.
Yeah.
Back up.
I think a ride on a fire truck.
Yeah, do shuttles, shuttle service.
Yeah.
Burns a lot of diesel fuel.
Am I missing anything? If we got things
Sorry, just
covered, we've got
Siphon it out
refreshments.
of the generator you can buy.
We've got the time. We're gonna rig up some kind of a speaker system for a thank you. We're gonna limit who has access to the microphone, you know, the usual things.
Well, you'll be good this time.
Hmm?
Never mind. You don't want to hear this.
All right,
So,
so
Yeah.
are we done with Chris or are you talking with?
well, I
Chris
can
now?
either tell
Okay.
you now or tell you later, because this will just be whatever. VMS, Gary came in today, Chris, put some grates in the ceiling of the server room. One of the issues with that, cooling in there is that I guess the room doesn't get warm enough. The compressor short cycles and it either ruined or damaged the compressor. So with the grates in the ceiling, you may be able to just shut that off and monitor the temperature in there. I don't think there's enough electrical equipment in there to require the amount of cooling that's there. So you can check on that and do what you, one thing he did tell me though, is each individual room in that building, the partition walls go from floor to the deck. So there's no open space. So if you look above the server room, it's the exact same size as the server room above there, but it'll help to dissipate the heat. So you may want to just shut that cooling unit off until such point. Yours works better, right? Because you got more units in there and stuff running. Yeah, okay. So Gary wanted me to let you know that, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing for townwide celebration, Bill, can we have a banner made that says something like, thank you Rutland Town voters and taxpayers?
Sure.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you. And, you know,
For the for, you said relative, you said celebration, I think. Did you mean
You
open
meant-
house?
Open house.
open house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did mean the open
bit
house.
shorter
It's
time
really
after that.
short notice.
Bill knew
Yes.
what you knew, what you
Okay.
meant.
Okay.
Get some magic
You
markers.
got 11
right?
days, Bill. No crowd.
Right. So anything more for Chris Clark? And thank you for driving to all of these parade route things. I always consider that pre-recruitment for firefighters, especially the young, you know, young kids who might want to be firefighters one day. So onward. Thanks, Chris. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Thank you. And I'll be in touch with a couple of good dates for fire committee meeting.
Okay.
All right. Kari Clark, town clerk and treasurer.
Hey there.
Hi.
Okay. Just very brief, quick things. Taxes are due on Saturday. This is the last one of the fiscal year, so I have to make my annual spiel about, for anyone listening that isn't escrowed and they pay coming in or by mail, we will accept payments on Monday because it falls on a Saturday. But it will get a penalty and interest on Tuesday if we don't receive it by the end of business on Monday, which is 4:30. Let's see, in your orders that you've signed tonight, we're sending off the second state payment for our school taxes. The final cash flow came through, and this fiscal year, we're sending off $369,000 to the state, I do believe, for education purposes. Let's see. Deborah and I went to a training in West Rutland held by the VMCTA, Vermont Clerks and Treasurers
Good.
Association. It was great. I haven't had a chance to get out and get some training for obvious reasons, and we both got to hear some really great information. Some information was something that we already heard, but it was really great to hear and verify some of the stuff we've overheard. So to hear it right from the source is great. Given that, I wrote a circle article outlining some of the things for people to learn if you read my article in the next one that's
Oh, the
coming
next one.
out.
Okay.
And given some of the new information that I gleaned, I would love, and I think we're in the process of putting together and meeting as a personnel finance committee.
Mhm.
So that is in the works. I don't know if we've settled on a date yet.
9 o'clock on the 15th, which is when Andrew's coming in anyway to meet with you at 10.
Okay, so he'll
So-
be here at 9 to be
Um,
part of our meeting or no?
we wanted some overlap, so I'm assuming he'll be in at 9.
I was gonna invite Teresa for 9
Okay,
and then Andrew for 9:30.
okay.
Great.
That's enough time.
And then 10 o'clock with you. So Teresa will answer some of your personnel questions, I
Mhm.
think. And also we can find out when the new timesheet will be available for use.
I would, yes, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about at committee meeting,
Mhm.
some of my ideas.
Yes, please.
I don't think it's appropriate to talk about any of that right now until
Okay.
we talk about it in committee meeting, but there is some changes going on and I have to think ahead.
Okay.
And that kind of goes into all of this and what can we do in our office to make things more effective and efficient, given some changes that are coming
Okay.
forth.
It just reminded me that Teresa had emailed us an invoice.
Yes.
I don't think you were included, so that wasn't probably in the orders, I don't believe.
Okay.
So,
Heard
Okay.
or seen of her for a
Okay.
while.
So I guess we need to,
do anything or we just send it to Kari?
I think we send it to Kari and you'll include it in the next one.
Next one,
please. Yeah.
sure. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
My
Okay.
apologies to Teresa.
Yeah.
I'll forward that right now.
And then I just thought I would touch upon, I also did go to a training in Burlington on an updated system for our elections and how we manage our voters in our office. Nothing really to report to you guys about that. It's just more updates for us, which is, it looks better. But in addition to that, I know people are wondering if I know anything more about the executive order from Trump, and I have not heard a single word from the state about it at all. They were keeping us abreast of it, and I haven't received any emails about it. I do continue to get those phone calls though about people frantically looking for their birth certificates because
Yeah.
they need an enhanced driver's license. Not unheard of, so I just take those and field those phone calls. And then we have to get together as a BCA sooner than later. This is an odd year and we need to challenge voters that are sitting on our voter list. And that's what we do every other year. And then we have to do that by September. So if we get that process going sooner than later, that would be great. So that is my quick list. And if you have any questions, let me know. I should be getting, well, as we go along, we'll get the calculations closer and closer to the end of the fiscal year. I got a couple things ready for Dave tonight, and I looked over a few other budgets, but I mean, department heads are managing their own budgets and they know what's going on, but I do have some ideas going into next fiscal year. Again, that's what I'll talk about at the committee meeting.
And I think if you saw what Andrew sent around to us, there are a couple of policies, or one policy anyway, that he marked up, and he had a couple of questions, and you did see that, right?
I did. I didn't get a chance to read it though. I do apologize.
No, don't worry about that, because that's for our meeting and we get to discuss it then.
Okay.
So that should be, and if you have agenda items, just let us know what they are and we'll add those to the agenda, because we obviously want to address what you have in mind.
Absolutely.
We're going to have Andrew, we're going to have the Finance and Personnel Committee, we're going to have Teresa. So let's do what we can to get all of our questions answered.
There's
all of them.
a lot of them. What
May require more than one meeting.
Might.
Some of us do have day jobs.
Oh, the day job.
Will I, would it be best to just forward some bullet points to Bill for the
That'd
agenda?
be great. Yes,
Okay.
please. Yep.
Yeah, that would be good. Right now, that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for our town clerk and treasurer? Taxes coming in okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I checked on that before this meeting and it looks like, I know this sounds crazy, but we have about 1.3 million more to collect before Saturday, technically Monday. So we'll see.
Okay. You cash my check, so I
We'll
know
see.
you got it.
Excellent. Yes, we did receive it. I did remember that.
Okay. Anything else? If not, have anything for us? Anything? Okay.
Thanks, Kari.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thanks for the rec committee meeting too. That was important.
Okay. Mike Delehanty. Yes, Mike.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Mike is
Awesome.
our first constable.
Yes. Obviously, sorry my schedule hasn't allowed me to join you guys in a while, but of course I'm happy to join you guys tonight. Not a ton to report out. Just a couple animal calls of late. Most recently we had some concerns over some roosters that I dealt with, but now that my schedule has definitely freed up, I'm going to connect with the guys at the PD this week and talk about where they could use me, some extra assistance for shift coverage on a more consistent basis. So obviously moving forward with our meeting nights, I'll have plenty for you guys, but I'm going to connect with the guys at the PD tomorrow and see where they could use me most.
Okay. We did have the ongoing question of where are we with the dilapidated buildings ordinance?
Yeah, let me, I don't
Which
have
you
an update.
inherited from JP, I think.
Yeah, so I don't have an update for you tonight, but I will absolutely have a full update for you guys at our next meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else that we wanted to direct to our first constable? No, I guess not. So good to hear from you. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to maybe seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I'll be there in person. I appreciate it. See you soon.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Joe Denardo, Public Safety Building Clerk.
So we've talked about most of what's gone on. Last Tuesday and Wednesday, Middlebury fence came down, constructed the impound yard for the PD. I believe it's what you're looking for. Yep. So that's out back
Okay.
and that's done. I think pretty much, the schedule is laid out, the paving next week. They were hoping to get it done this week. Give the pavement time to cool, dry, so they can do the line striping. There's some concern about the oils from the pavement and it bleeds through the pavement paint, so they want to be careful with that. So that's why I'm not sure if that'll be ready for next Tuesday or not, or next Saturday, so that's 17th, but otherwise, I think most of the punch list has gone through. They have secured the door that there was some concerns with. I believe that's to your liking. And they're waiting on some stuff. There's a couple little odds and ends inside. I talked with Gary about most of the stuff they've gone through. I think there was some communication lines that had to be redone, a few other little odds and ends, but that one, yeah. They did fix in the emergency management room. For some reason, some of the sheetrock popped in there with the screws, no idea, but they're working on that stuff. I don't think there's too much else. The evidence room door handle
Oh, right.
thing, poor planning. That's
Does it have a little plastic insert?
well, I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to fabricate something because there's nothing to hitch to in there. So they're trying to come up with something, but that will get taken care of. The only other outstanding thing, and I talked to Ted about that, was a card reader for the foyer into the PD or the emergency man. And I don't know if you've gotten any further with Royals on that. Okay.
They sent it to me that the original plans for the building called for that card reader in the lobby. It also called for an intercom system, but somewhere in between, there was a discussion on different locks for the building. And then after that discussion went by the wayside, the next quote that we actually signed for the locks was for 5 of those card readers. We have 5, but we're missing the lobby one. But not there.
Yeah, that would be the 5th one, right?
No, that's the 6th.
That's the 6th one.
5 in that were on the quote that they sent us, but for some reason, the 6th was not there.
All right, so the outside door main entrance and the back door entrance, that's 2. Where are the other?
Evidence, server, front main door, back door, and then the garage bay door.
Okay. So those are, right, so that one, I guess, is gonna be on us at some point, because the wiring is there.
And the wiring for everything.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have
Is-
to figure out that. It's a little inconvenient because they can use their card reader to get into the building, but then you gotta pull your keys out to unlock that door. So we'll have to get that one installed at,
Is there a sign on the backside that says, please use front door? Okay, that would be like good.
That was part of I know Dave was working on the sign.
We got the bill for it the other day,
Okay.
so it's closer.
yes.
So that'll be out front, and that'll show people where to park. And that will be a sign eventually on that back, but since it's front for employees only.
Okay,
Not an exit, not an entrance, exit.
Yeah.
There's other
Please
stuff
use front door.
as well, so.
Yeah.
okay.
So
I
the
see-
sign is in. We have it in our shop. I'm just waiting for DigSafe to clear it and that'll be planted.
Perfect.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
good.
Yep.
Thanks.
Is that what the white squiggly lines are out there in the grass, Dave?
Absolutely.
Shouldn't lines be straight?
No, he made a spot where he needs to put the sign, so that
Okay.
designates the,
All right.
where he's gonna put it so they can make sure there's nothing buried there. Yeah, so that's pretty much, where we are. Everything is, I think, pretty much done. All the site work is done. Dave, Gary's gonna have, Fabian come back. Some of the matting they put down is, blown around, so they're gonna do it, but it's so wet that you can't walk on the topsoil and you can't get out there, and the grass is actually coming up through that mesh already, so it's
doing
it's
its
coming
thing.
right along, so it looks pretty good. That's pretty much it.
All right. Any questions for Joe? All right. Thank you, Joe. Is John Paul on?
No JP, we have no Barbara, and we have no Larry.
Work in progress.
Okay, Marcia, Chaffee, Head Lister. Good evening. Try it again. You're sort of going on and off mute.
No, I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
Had trouble with my mouse here. I just wanted to let you know that we are winding down with all of our site visits. We have maybe 3 or 4 more that we have to go to that are, minimal site visits. And the other thing is, I wanted to let you know that Kathy has offered to come in after hours because of the newness of the business personal property. She has taken the bull by the horn and has done a fabulous job. But with 262 accounts, it takes a lot of time. So she has offered to come in the evenings and put in, a couple of hours here or there. And I just wanted to let you know that if you see lights on, or if somebody see lights on in the lister's office, that it's going to be Kathy in here doing her job.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, everything is pretty much on schedule. Like I said, we've only got a few more site visits to do. We've had some really super full new buildings that we've had to do that have taken up quite a bit of our time. So, but we're working towards the end.
Okay. Good. Any questions for Marcia?
Yeah, Marcia, outdoor garden sheds that people use for putting their lawn care stuff in, do we tax those? Are those assessed and appraised or not?
We do tax sheds out. We come out and measure them, and depending on whether they've got, a concrete pad or whether they're on a skid or, whatever, we do have to measure, and we have to apply it to the, to the property.
Is that something new, or has the town always done that?
Oh, no, it's nothing new.
The permit tracking ordinance says 10 by 10 or bigger. It's permit.
To put a shed in? Okay. There's no cost for the permit, but it's just a track.
No, there's no cost for the permit, but we just need to know.
And that permit, we adopted that when?
Oh, that's been
there a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our information.
So it's basically 100 square feet or less?
Yeah, 100 square feet. We don't even, go out and visit, but anything less than that, yes, we do. Because we've got some, pretty neat sheds out there that have power, that have, water. There aren't that many, but there are a few. So we do have to assess those.
So it's based on square feet?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think we're all set. Thank you, Marcia, very much.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Marcia.
Thank you, Bart. Good night.
Good night. Okay, Bill Sweet, Town Administrator.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Few things on my list, but we have a reimbursement request in your packets to go to the state. That is for our Route 7 North Sidewalk Grant. That is number 1 in your packet. We've paid the invoices and now we are requesting reimbursement from the state. Mary has the letter to sign in the original folder.
Move to approve and authorize the chair to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. So we've already spent it. This is a reimbursement.
Yes, we paid it and now we're requesting it back, yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is expenses done mostly by the
You have
regional
the whole
commission
thing.
as
It's
the
there's a lot.
consultant.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Regional Planning Commission and Stan.
I always ask this
Okay.
question. So we we earmarked our 20% match somewhere, right?
This comes out of engineering in Dave's budget.
Dave's budget.
Yes.
Oh, it's where the engine.
So it comes out and it goes back into it.
Right. So we send out 9 and get back 72.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where we are. I couldn't remember where we were taking the 20% match from.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to authorize submittal and me to sign. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay.
The next thing in your packet is a letter we got from Velco. Basically asking for collaboration to help ensure that work near their right of way is approved properly through them. So since we have they talked about using online tax maps, which we do have, so that's a help. But this is just something that they're asking for help to collaborate with.
Yeah. So Marcia, while we have you, if you can hear me and you're still on our tax maps, do we show utility rights of way? I can't remember. Okay, well,
I think the Velcro right of ways are marked on the maps.
I think they may be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're marked.
Because Velco's also asking a digital level for greater right-of-way awareness. In this new digital era, towns are implementing digitalized parcel map viewers for ease of convenience.
For example, along north and south that goes across Killington Avenue, that long right of way is on
Okay.
our map.
Okay, very
One,
good.
yeah, they are.
There's one across at Grove Street just below the farm.
Yeah, it looks like they're all there. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're kind of already doing
We're
some
doing
of
it,
the
yep.
awareness that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and we don't have a digital parcel map viewer, do we?
Lister's map. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it's not fully digital, right? You can't pull up the parcel IDs and
We
all
can.
that off it.
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
I haven't looked
Lister
at that.
card, Lister card and everything.
I haven't looked at that in a couple minutes. Huh?
The list. It's not.
I use the state GIS map.
Commercial
Oh,
properties,
everything I
no.
do.
Well, GIS map is good, but
Yeah.
this gives you links to the Lister cards and everything
Okay.
for
Yeah.
residential properties. It doesn't do commercial properties, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, the
Okay.
point of this letter, and I understand this, but most of their right of ways pass through private
yeah,
properties and stuff. So the people that have the right of ways are the ones that need to be more aware. I mean, not on a town level so much.
right.
If there were town land crossed by a transmission line or a right of way, but if you have a Velco line going across your land, you know what you can and can't do underneath.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the easement, and I think that's their whole point. Please remind people not to put buildings in our right of way.
Does that show up on all the private parcels or just the?
And they've,
All-
in the
all across
last few
town.
years, they've done a ton of work. Replacing poles across,
They
you know,
have.
and building a really nice road system along their
Mhm.
right of ways.
Like the back of the properties along West Ridge Terrace and the back of the properties along Hitzel Terrace all have Velco rights of way that run across the back portion of the property and
Yeah.
Yeah.
quite a bit of it.
We have a link to their thing on our website.
We do not yet know.
Could we like put that letter or something of that nature on our website for
Sure.
people, they could, you know, just to be aware, if you have a
Yeah.
Velco line in your backyard, these are things you just need to know or something.
It's
That might help them too.
we have quite a bit of there's quite a few parcels that are affected by that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
We received number 3 email to nominate
Yeah.
a local leader from the town of Rutland to attend Community Leadership Summit.
August 11th at Well, we used to call it VTC over in Randolph. It's now Vermont State University in Randolph.
And it's still VTC.
I know.
Oh, people, that's what- Somebody wanna go?
Anybody want to go? Let's start it that way.
It's the 11th. It's a Monday.
You want to go? You're an alumna.
Yeah, doesn't mean I have
Alumnus.
time to go in August.
No,
If it was
probably not.
January, maybe I'd consider it, but
No, because you either hauling salt or plowing snow.
well, it's
This
possible.
is Explore ways to
We could
support
fill in
local
my schedule.
leadership and democracy.
There's no good time.
Anybody want to go?
No, it's good.
I think I'm available.
When do they need to know by? Yesterday? No.
I don't know if it's.
There's no deadline.
By
on
June
it.
14th.
Oh, June 14th. Okay. We got time. You got time to. Please forward this email to someone else in the town of Rutland if you are not the right person for this request. It's a Monday?
I believe August 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Monday.
So Kirk, can you tell us more about what it was?
Well,
This thing, you went to this?
oh, I didn't go to it. No, I went to VTC for college. That was it.
Oh,
No, I'm an alumni up there,
I
but
went there for a lead paint training, 1 day session. Yeah, yeah. And I passed too, so there.
yeah.
Okay. We do have a little time, so if you would stick it in our packet for next, and I'll see if anybody has changed their minds and suddenly really wants to go.
No, I'm good. I got covered there. Yeah. just
Okay.
Recycle it. Yeah. All right. The next is the feedback we got from Andrew. His notes and then his edits are in the policy, but this is just to give you guys a chance to look at his notes. And then this will be discussed at the finance committee meeting next week.
Right.
Yes.
So we wanted you to see it, hang on to it, because we're going to be talking with Andrew and Kari. And may have further revisions on it. So, or, we'll take your feedback now if you want us to keep some things in mind. But that's the plan. It's going to committee right now.
Got a plan, that's always good.
All right.
On file.
Good plan.
Okay. Next.
And the next thing you have is a correspondence we received from Peter Franzoni about request to adopt a resolution. And I did make copies of that, put it on your desk. There was not a blank one, it's the one that the Rutland City adopted.
Right. Yeah. So did he not attach the blank resolution?
He did not.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no.
And I do know there was, good discussion generated over in the city, and I know at least one or two townspeople who went over to participate. So, what's your pleasure, folks, with this?
I think until a town resident wants us to entertain this, then maybe we'll entertain it at that point, but
It's basically in support of due process of law. And frankly, that's where I was Saturday, up with the lawyers marching in favor of due process of law. So, and we had to retake our oath at the end of it, and we swore to uphold Vermont government and the Constitution and US government and Constitution. So,
I generally support the spirit of this. There's some things on here that would need to be, well, obviously it would
Yeah.
have to be edited to be
Rewritten.
town specific, but there's a couple other things on here that I would probably also change if we were gonna do it. So, I don't,
do you want to offer us a rewrite?
well, the thing is, I don't think we want to
Good,
create a
that's good of
lot
you. You're
of,
gonna do the rewrite.
yeah, big project out of a national issue at the local level, but
well, that's the thing. It's like, it's not gonna accomplish anything, so.
Well, you never know.
you want to talk about it at our personnel meeting?
Personnel meeting, sure, we'll do that. We'll assign it to personnel. Okay,
Okay. We've got your budget status sheets. Otter Creek Communication District.
oh, yes,
She is passionate about having a resolution to this one way or the other.
Okay, so we had an applicant.
We have an applicant who is willing to continue to serve, but we'd like to find somebody, they'd like us to find somebody different. We do have the option, I did put this on your desk, to withdraw from the Otter Creek district. We don't lose anything. We still are considered, we are still a member of the district and can re-enroll at any point. She is asking the board to either appoint someone tonight or withdraw,
Right.
because they have an annual meeting and she needs it resolved.
She also needs a quorum.
Draw.
Sorry?
Are we still a member if we withdraw?
Because we don't have any voting rights, but we're still part of it. And we can say like, it takes a board action to withdraw, it takes a board action to go back.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much set. as a
We are in a fortunate position as a town. Like the goal of this was to support broadband rollout in, rural areas, and largely we are very fortunate and very well served by broadband. So I'm not sure there's a lot that we could support this.
We did have Ms. Muma
Yes.
willing to stay on unless we could find somebody else. And she mostly did it because she wanted to make sure they had a quorum for the business that they needed to, but she even said the same thing, which is pretty much it's built out and we're in good shape.
Yeah, yes.
So do you want to keep Ms. Muma on for another year?
So that's what you're saying. Her position has now changed. She wants somebody else.
She would, her preference is to be replaced.
Yes.
I mean, if she doesn't show up to a meeting, then
Right.
it's not gonna be quorum anyway.
Well, if we're not in it, then they'd have one less quorum.
That's why, that's why we have to make a decision.
Withdraw, I mean, what,
So I'll move we withdraw from the Otter Creek Communication District.
And how about, and thank them for their work?
Sure.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to withdraw and to thank them for their work. Any further discussion?
There is a form I have on your desk that needs to be signed by the select board chair.
Authorized chair sign.
Okay, is it
I
in
didn't put it
the
in the folder?
folder?
No, it was on your desk. The Otter Creek at the top.
Hope I haven't marked it up.
We all have, it's.
They all look alike. Okay. All right, so
Enough.
it's basically the select board of the town hereby approves withdrawing from the Otter Creek Communication Union District. Any discussion about this? If not, all in favor of withdrawing, please say aye.
I,
Motion carries 5-0. Sixth.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm adding, thank you for your work. Okay.
Perfect. Also on your desks is a email from Stephanie at the Regional Planning Commission about a service contract amendment. In her email, she explains why she believes this is a good idea. And I also agree this is a good idea. It would allow us to basically immediately apply for reimbursement and not wait for the plan to be adopted. If there's more work needed, we would get an additional invoice, we would anyway, but this would allow us to apply for what we've done so far, in an effort to basically guarantee we get reimbursed.
What's LHMP?
Local Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Okay, all
That
right.
was the one that Dave and Marty and I in the presentation, and we've now it's adopted pending approval, approved pending adoption, approved pending adoption. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Is there a motion?
To follow her recommendation.
Yes, I think
So
that's,
moved.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to follow her recommendation. And there's the separate document.
There is a
in here.
document to sign and requires a signature
A signature.
by the representative.
The chair to sign on behalf of it.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to authorize chair to sign on behalf that the agreement effective August 14th, 2024 shall be modified as follows. Period of performance extended to December 31st, 2025, or the completion of tasks. And then their obligations, they'll bill us twice. And obviously we got to pay. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Last Friday, the scholarship applications were due and they're in a big pile right there. There's one big envelope that has a bunch of individual ones in there and the scoring sheets and all that are all in there too.
Yep.
And then there's some other envelope people brought in that are also on top. So you've got everything there.
Did they have a deadline? I mean, we're gonna try to do this before the next board meeting, but does the school have, or any school have a
We had
deadline
talked
for
to them
us?
about that. We pushed out, actually, I think we pushed out our deadline. We pushed it out because they didn't need it as soon as we thought they did. So I don't remember what it was, but I've got.
Oh, you know, so the city goes on strike, you won't graduate anybody.
Right.
I don't have the date from Anne. Let's see here, Anne. I don't have one
Take that as a no.
right away. That we talked to her about it, but yeah, there is one. But I think if you do it by next board meeting, we should be okay.
Yeah.
That should be fine. Yeah, so they're all in there.
Yeah.
So how many were there?
Oh, I think we had 10 or 12.
Okay,
But we had several right at the
really?
pulling in the parking lot on Friday afternoon, so or Friday morning. So they were all of them were on time. There was nobody that
Very
came in late,
good.
so that was good.
Kids.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little encouragement from the parents, but they all got it in time. Let's see what else do we have here. We have 2 sewer users who exceeded their allocation last year, who have yet to file their application for an increase. They received initial letter telling them they needed to, and they have received a follow-up letter telling them they needed to. And one of them called and asked about it, said, yep, we'll get it to you. And it's been a while. So the ordinance allows us to have a violation not more than $500, and each week is a new violation. We haven't had to go to this before.
Mm-hmm.
People have just.
Mhm.
So how would you like to handle this?
So I suggest we notice them that if they do not reply and with whatever they need to do next, by and give them a date 30 days hence, then we will impose a $500 fine on them.
Is there any reason we
Is
can't
that-
just adjust the thing and bill them accordingly?
They have to apply for it. So the ordinance says they have to purchase the allocation, the gallons per
Oh.
day. So it's $5. In the allocation, it goes in $5. So there's one that's, I think, over by like 186 gallons. So that's, almost $1,000 for a fee. So we've never run into a point where we've had people that have just not done it. So the ordinance doesn't allow us to bill them for the overage. It says they have to apply for the increase. Exceeding your allocation is not permitted. They have to ask for the increase, but there's no provision to say, here, we're billing you for what you did overage. That sewer ordinance is older, but that opens a whole different conversation. So there's really not a way to change that at the moment.
And that's a one-time fee,
It is.
right?
It's
So you just pay for your usage and then
you own it.
There's no real, so when they went over, there's no really no penalty for the fact that they went over in the past.
if they're over at the end of the year, so we do it once, I check this once a year. And we only end up with a handful that go over. And then we send them a letter saying, hey, the ordinance we outlines how we do it. And they come to us with an application and they pay the $5 per gallon, and I mark it down on the spreadsheet that they're increased. And
So are they paying retroactively also, or just?
no, so this has nothing we don't charge them, because the city they pay a bill, the quarterly bills gets paid to the city, but they're using our lines to do it. So they pay per gallon to use our lines. So this is a user fee.
This is the buy-in.
Right.
It's the buy, so like if you put up a new building and you're gonna use 1,000 gallons a day, you pay the town $5,000.
Right.
And that's your buy-in, and then the amount you pay is through your water usage. You know, so like the new public safety building
Right.
pays so much per month.
Right.
For using the system.
Yeah. So for example, Walmart, BAI Rutland, which owns the mall property right now, has an allocation for sewer usage. If they determine they need more than what they already have right now, they're going to need to apply for whatever they think they're going to use as part of their building process.
So if we send them another little notice and say, you know, you've kind of missed this is the thing, and maybe a little copy of that ordinance that outlines that, and that gives them one more chance.
The new one that went over this year, that went over last year, called me, and I spent a while talking with them, and they were all good. They're going to send it in and be all set. Don't know what happened. The other one, they don't go by once. They've gone over a few times, but it's a small amount, so it's not a large deal, but it's being just consistent. We always do this. It's just being consistent. So we're trying to, and I really don't like being punitive with the penalties, but it's really the only thing that gets our attention in some cases. So, I'm happy to send them another letter and
Were they warned about it in the first two letters? That's the penalty?
yes. The letter does say that it's
And maybe
prohibited,
it's,
so.
you say this,
third
if we don't get it
and
from you
final
by this date, I'm sending you
Yeah,
a bill.
and that's fine. And that's, these went out a couple months ago, so it's not been a little bit. So I think they went out February or early March, so it's not, so, all right, I will take care of that.
Okay, so that, we don't need a vote, but that's guidance. Okay.
And then the last thing we talked about an excavation ordinance in response to things going on, and Kevin called me and we talked about it for a while, and his suggestion was to make it a part of our streets and sidewalk ordinance rather than its own separate one.
Yeah.
So I've given the highway committee an updated draft of the street and sidewalk ordinance, which now includes that in
Very
there.
good.
Dave's reviewed the language. He's happy. So that's for you guys to look at, and so it's
Does
added
that mean
to
we should probably have a committee meeting before our next meeting?
the highway committee agenda list is perpetually the longest one, and it is just
I bet your water and sewer's in there something.
it is. It's okay.
Finance and personnel are meeting, fire is meeting.
We should, so just refresh my memory on
Yes.
the procedure going forward.
To adopt that,
Yes,
the whole board will get a chance. Well, you guys will look at it.
right.
The committee looks at it, makes some changes, bring it to the board, see if there's any changes. It goes to an attorney to be reviewed to make sure it's legal, and then we can adopt it, and then it starts a 60-day clock. The private fire hydrant ordinance, the clock is May 11th, so it's like next week becomes effective. We've got the 60-day clock is up, so.
Yep.
And you said Kevin has looked at this?
No,
No, yeah.
no. His suggestion was to
Put it together.
put
Okay.
make it one rather than separate, which is fine. So
It's all in one place, which really makes
It
sense.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
That's
So
a good
it's
idea.
added at the end. Yeah.
Kurt and I and Dave will converse. We'll try to meet between now and
Mhm.
the 20th.
You gotta check into that other little overage thing that I mentioned.
Oh, yeah, that, I believe that's a clerical error.
I think so.
That is all the things I have.
Okay, on my desk, I have a letter from Jason Bathalon, Attention Board of Rutland Town. I, Jason Bathalon, would like to be part of the TAC committee and be the representative of Rutland Town. Yeah, tech. And I spoke briefly with Dave. Dave has been, he's offered to coach Jason. I don't know if you guys want to take a look at or consider it and make a recommend, or
Anybody that's willing to volunteer for a position ranks pretty highly on my list of people. Because
okay.
they're hard to come by.
Transportation council or something.
Transportation area.
That's advisory, Transportation
Advisory
Advisory Council.
Council. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So is there a motion?
so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to appoint Jason Bathalon to the TAC committee on transportation issues under the regional committee, I think.
Yeah, Regional Planning. Commission, yeah.
Rutland Regional Planning Commission. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. So, yes. 6:20. Okay. Now, a couple of things. So let me go through our. Do you have anything else, Bill?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, action items. We did A. The one thing we haven't done is discuss the draft regional plan. And I put it on the agenda because you'll remember 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago, we heard from Stephanie, and the draft regional future land use map was presented to us. It raised some questions about because we are basically the town in the county that has the transitional area, growth area. And there were a couple of, I will say, I also pinpointed a area down on Creek Road that's next to mine, and I did my own. I wrote in not as a select board member or on behalf of the select board, but I just said I object to this use and gave the reasons why, including a notice of alleged violation. Yeah, really.
Yeah, so there was a couple of things Kurt
Yes.
mentioned that, and you guys, we looked at some of the, I guess it's yellowish colored areas that we might want to see expanded. Is that within our, I guess, scope of what we're doing?
I think they
There's
said
an area on South Main
the
Street.
areas, the boundary lines, they were open to.
It sounded like we could try.
Right.
Yes.
And they might not accept it, but we can try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for, what is, I can't remember what the yellow was, and I left it.
That's transitional into the,
Yeah,
which is
Yeah.
like the commercial developable.
yeah, there's a section down on,
We pretty much want to extend that almost down the railroad
I
right
think
away.
she said you could change some of the boundaries, but not the
Yes.
designations, like.
Right.
Yeah.
They were, what they were, yeah.
Yeah.
which is interesting, because when you change a boundary, you are encroaching on another designation.
There you
So it's
go.
kind of like,
I think she's just meant you can't make up new ones.
Right, yeah, you
make
can't,
up
you can't
new
change
ones.
what they
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah,
But
so.
I guess
So
some-
tell
some
me
towns
again,
make
give me the narrative. Do you want, who wants to write in to, I mean, I sort of know Logan a little bit, so I wouldn't mind doing it, but tell me what.
So I guess I don't know how to explain it on a drawdown map, I guess. Unless you got like parcel IDs to try to add it in, but
So the transitional,
you want me to take my pen up there? I can draw it.
yeah, actually, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the way to do it, what
Yes.
we're thinking.
Maybe a pencil.
marker.
Yeah. Start with.
Oh, pencil?
First draft, you gotta nail this.
Hey, I do crossword puzzles in ink. That's how brave I am.
Here to go. Oh, probably something. Let's try it right.
That's that area where basically, the John Deere garages.
So we're extending that zone down to the Route 4 bypass, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're down past the bypass to part of the Dyer property
Okay.
and around to Middle Road.
Yeah, kind of follows the town line.
I like that. Yeah, you can really bring it right down to the town line.
Yeah.
For what it is.
I mean, because,
It's just right now, I mean, these two pieces are on the market for commercial use. So
I know.
we would like to do that. And then there was Post Road. See, this has
To
the
town
the
line.
transitional infill had some stuff to do with municipal water and sewer being available.
Yes,
And there's
Both on Post Road.
Post Road.
there's kind of a parcel in here that could get developed into something someday. That has water and sewer access.
So I had a phone call about that today. And yes, there's a water line, but the water line comes from the school and it's, last thing we got from Robert Clark was that we reached the capacity of the water line.
Yeah, there's also the city valve yard down here that can,
Right.
that could get
There's-
tied.
I'm not sure.
Technically, at the
So
foot of the
did
hill,
you,
there's
did you
220
draw the
Yeah.
line so I
two
can?
or 2 or 3 20-inch mains there.
Yeah.
So what I did when I did mine was I basically put the map in and then I drew my own line and pointed to where, so I'll do the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's kind of, I mean, somewhere in
Well, it's-
here,
okay,
you know, there's some wetlands.
In between that
There's some
area.
wetlands that almost should follow the wetland buffers,
Mhm.
you know, but
Because in some respects, that would help what dyers want to do with their property.
yeah, and there's
And
I
it
think
fits,
it's-
it fits everything else that's there. That's a bit, it fits everything else that's there.
yeah, that's what we want that area to be.
oh, this is right on,
That's like right across from town school.
okay, oh, okay.
That's, yeah.
I mean, that's all I kind of saw
And that has water.
as water and sewer.
and
That's
sewer
easily accessible. I mean,
accessible.
you can see because they kind of ran it up there. It just needs to get.
All right. And one of the things that I was thinking of for these, there was something in there, but she made the point and no strip development. Well, frankly, it is strip development because that's all we've got in Rutland town.
Yeah.
And we're just infilling what's already there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's where we want that.
yes.
We want all that down there.
What is on the other side of Route 7 down there? It shows where GE is. And all of that's already in that area, so
Yeah, that's all, the mall's all
Okay.
in it.
all that's,
So
yeah.
Quality
this
lane's all
little
in it.
piece here, this little piece here, anything up this way?
Route 4 is pretty much.
Anything, what, no, we did say something. No, you were saying what the limits were for the
That's the little village district.
the
thing
village
that they're
district
claiming.
and we can't,
That that doesn't really do much for us.
okay.
And then this. I find it this is all residential and they still got an infill, which, whatever,
Already there, yeah.
I guess.
Bill,
Yeah,
That's
in
like,
Mill Village,
Yeah, that's Florida Heights.
what,
why is that?
they're excavating, what is that
Can we
about, do
raise
you
the
know?
question?
You can.
That's the solar panels.
That's what I thought.
Road solar,
Now is that whose property?
Thomas's.
Okay,
Did Thomas, they sold that though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
was
sold it.
Thomas's. Yeah, they sold it.
So
It's-
this,
Okay.
they sold that parcel.
to who?
It's Post Road Solar.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think it's-
company that bought. that.
Oh,
What was-
okay.
I think they bought what was left available there.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's been in the works for 3 years.
No, I just wondered, I saw it and I said,
Yes.
Oh, the other thing I did was compare it with our town.
You don't remember that conversation, Sharon?
huh?
Oh, they tied it.
That conversation came up that, well, it's prime ag land and that was about as far as I let Barb get.
But still, it's residential. Why
That
do-
horse left the barn when they did the other panels behind,
Yeah,
but dairy barn up there.
Absolutely.
Don't use that argument.
So it must be in that.
no, I don't have a problem.
It,
Beats there.
they disturbed a couple of arrowheads, so I'm sure. But
Well, I'm sure they did, because I have a registered piece on my land.
Yeah.
It's registered with the
Yeah.
state. And then I have this, if you come up my driveway, there's this big, huge
All
mound.
right, that'll do it.
So Jimmy Carby brought his brother-in-law over, who's into Indian artifacts. And he claims that's a burial mound. So I stray right away from, you know, I don't wanna wake up Pocahontas.
Shindy.
I mean, otherwise, I mean, I'm kind of okay map. I mean, I don't know how much you're gonna change, like I said.
No,
What's
but
it?
we've lodged. Well,
Those
the
are
other
two
thing I
spots.
did
But
when
we
I
should
was
emphasize-
raising the issue, I compared it with what our town plan had.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll take a look at what our town plan future land use map
It-
is.
it
It's less
encourages-
detailed than this.
growth in an area where we have growth.
Yeah,
You know, it's not, you know, they used to worry about sprawl
yeah,
and moving out, but we're not really
but
doing
we
that.
did that.
Huh? What's that?
I mean, we have it because we have no center. So there was nothing to spread from.
Right, yeah, I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
you know, and you can't, and I don't think we should be tied to what the city does. You know, because even though, you know, like. When they wanted to build, what really bothered me is when they wanted to build the car repair shop in that field where they're putting solar panels. And all of the hurdles that they had to go through
Oh, yeah.
and ended up costing us that,
Yeah.
that facility.
Mhm.
I mean,
And-
it was
and We
nothing,
ended up building we are building a sidewalk to help with that issue in the future. Yeah.
when, you know, and, you know, we've talked about some infrastructure projects, and one of the things that I think would help. And it's something I brought up before, is that the, Army. The military, that base, the
Yes.
building up there,
Yeah.
they ran a 10-inch main directly from the city's 20 to that property.
Hmm.
And at some point, the town should look at extending that main to Route 7. It'll have a lot of, it would actually help the city with their water flow, because their end, they're getting into some small pipes up by Paul's Cleaners, and
Mhm.
having the main, potentially water to the public safety building eventually. There's a lot of area up there that could be helped by that. The sewer is already there, so we're not really adding something. But it's just.
Well, that's basic planning. Way back when I took planning classes, that was.
Trying to
you
keep everything,
extend-
yeah.
You know, where you put the services, the water sewer, that's where development goes. So then if you think, where do we want it? Then you extend like Ranbury Road.
Right. You know,
Okay, so E is reviewing the draft alarm ordinance once feedback from the police department is received.
The chief swore to me he'd get back to me and he went on vacation, so he just, it was his plan.
Okay, well,
so.
deputy chief is here, so, okay, that's still on our agenda. All right. Any other new items? Anybody got anything new?
I have just a question for Bill.
Yeah.
The glitch with the door locks.
We're getting closer.
Okay.
We made some very good progress today. I hope to have an answer tomorrow morning. It is. Yep. We are making forward progress.
You know, Bill gave us his rundown of what we were doing. And it's more the monitoring of the individual locks and the cost per lock. And then there's some pushback that they don't want to honor that to an end user, that we need to go through a vendor.
It sounds like they ran into some back end problems.
Yeah.
And
So Bill and I had a discussion about it, and he's trying to navigate this minefield to get us where we thought we were going to be a month and a half ago.
I know, and we are getting closer. We really are. So, yes.
So for those that, why this hasn't all happened and all the locks haven't been changed, this is kind of the glitch before we do all
If the answer we all hope and pray for comes tomorrow, we may be done next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just in case, Kari had shared this with, I think, Matt and I a while, or back in April 29th. Capital Improvement Fund balance at that time was 83,282. So
And we spent about 23,000 of that for the last two change orders for the public safety building.
okay.
And hopefully that's all underway. I
Yep.
notified everybody the next day.
Thank you. All right, so that takes care of new items. Update on committee meetings. We did that. The police, we heard from Police Committee. Was there anything else on the police committee that we should mention? That I can,
It's mostly follow up from
I think-
what we already discussed in a previous meeting.
yeah, and we voted on. Okay, last meeting. All right, update the select board project list. There it is. Hey, I was thinking, we're supposed to be doing something in 2026 to commemorate the 250th anniversary of America's independence, right? And I was thinking, given all of the historic nature, that we try and get the pocket park in some semblance without going after big grant money or stuff. All right. So with your indulgence, let me work on a few things with the planning commission, maybe.
Sure.
All right.
We put
Try
a lot
not
of
to
time and
spend-
effort into it. We don't want it to go by the wayside.
I don't want it to go by the wayside. Yeah. Okay, so that could be our thing. And board to meet in executive session, no need for that. Anything else? Kurt?
Move to
Next.
adjourn.
Move to
Is that what you're looking for?
That has been made and seconded to
I
adjourn.
gave him-
All in favor, please say aye.
I gave him a job before you. We're talking
I
about.
was looking at the weather, right? I was trying to figure out what day. Unfortunately,